Ladies and gentlemen, DC and WB has found the cure for superhero fatigue. And it turns out that that movie is Blue Beetle. Let's all take a moment and bask in its mediocrity. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Ironic that on the same day I make a video talking about how artificial hype on social media does not translate to box office success, WB releases a trailer for the new Blue Beetle movie. And almost immediately, like it was a programmed reaction, a lot of people almost instantly started to overhype it.
But why?
Why? Because they had it made up in their minds long before they saw a trailer that they were going to like this movie. Either because they liked the neon aesthetic of the original poster, or because they saw set photos of the suit a while ago and they liked it, or because the lead was on Cobra Kai. Whatever the reason, people were determined to praise this movie, regardless of what it actually ended up looking like.
Something very familiar about all this.
According to some, this was going to be a turning point for DC on film. In reality, what the trailer showed us when it finally arrived was the makings of yet another bland and generic-ass looking comic book movie, to the surprise of absolutely no one with a brain. It literally looks no different than most of the comic book movies we've got over the past 10 years.
Not impressed.
It's a new character though, so it's different, right? Maybe on a surface level that's enough for some people, but not for me. I ask the question again, what is the point of making these movies if you're going to make them exactly the way that everyone else makes them? What is the point of making a Blue Beetle movie when a good portion of the movie-going population does not know or care to know who Blue Beetle is? We can't get a Superman movie, we can't get a Wonder Woman movie, we can't get a Green Lantern movie, but WB is giving us a Blue Beetle movie.
That makes sense.
You've got people out here saying that their sources are telling them that Blue Beetle isn't exactly moving the needle, or at least they don't expect it to. I got news for you, you don't need real or fake sources to figure out that this movie isn't moving any needles anytime soon. Not a single goddamn casual moviegoer is lining up to see Blue Beetle on opening night. And I could have told you that before you even made the movie. The minute that this idea was presented to WB, they should have said thanks but no thanks and moved on.
Anybody care about what I want?
I do.
Shut up. Get out.
But they couldn't help themselves. They're compelled. They are so desperate to be the new Disney MCU. They just had to allow this cheap imitation carbon copy of that formula to be produced. And in typical DC and WB fashion, anytime they try to copy Marvel, they fail miserably at doing so. And do you know why?
Tell me.
For one, people are just now getting tired of Marvel shit, so it's probably not the best time to try to replicate that. And two, every single time they try to copy that formula, somehow they end up making something even worse. Which is saying a lot because the current MCU formula already sucks. I can't for the life of me figure out why WB and DC will not commit to the director-driven format for its comic book movies. You already have numerous shining examples of that working in-house.
Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
And yet you are still choosing to go with the filmmaking by committee approach. You even appointed an MCU guy to oversee the whole damn universe. And for those wondering, yes, Blue Beetle is a part of James Gunn's new DCU. As if you needed another reason to not be optimistic about the future of this brand.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
It's no wonder that Ben Affleck left, because I wouldn't want to be involved with this shit either. And of course we already have the shills out in full force, telling people to make sure they show up for Blue Beetle. Because the character's future in the DCU depends on its box office success. I got news for you. Outside of the handful of people who go to watch anything comic book related, I would venture to say that almost no one in the real world is actually going to show up to watch this. If this is the new DCU, and if this is what we can expect from that new universe, then the new DCU is dead already.
Dead. D-E-D. Dead.
I saw a tweet recently saying that George Lopez is going to get the casuals to show up to this movie. And this is how delusional people on social media are. Because The Rock, arguably one of the biggest movie stars in the world, couldn't get people to show up and be interested in Black Adam. But sure, George Lopez is going to get people interested in a Blue Beetle movie. Give me a break.
You need people like me.
If you ever needed an example of people just saying shit to hear themselves talk, this would be it. How many times are we going to pretend like this genre, the superhero movie genre, isn't in the worst place it's ever been creatively? Box office numbers are shrinking. Studios, for some reason, are doubling down on characters that nobody cares about, ignoring all the signs that your average moviegoer just isn't interested in this shit anymore.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Per usual, WB is 10 steps behind its own ass. All the talk around this movie yesterday was centered around one line of dialogue at the end of the trailer, which was the most obvious form of hate bait I've ever seen in my life. You see, there's a reason that that line was put at the end of the trailer, because I'm sure they knew that people would react exactly the way that they did.
That's bait.
Effectively giving this movie the smallest amount of buzz that it probably doesn't deserve. Buzz that seemingly disappeared overnight, by the way, because I'm sure all the people who were wrapped up in this line of dialogue have moved on to something else. I'm not gonna let one piss-poor obvious bait joke distract me from talking about the real problem with this movie. That being, it looks like yet another uninspired, bland, generic, boring, and formulaic superhero story. When are people going to learn to demand better? When are people going to stop being so accepting of mediocrity? When are people going to stop making excuses for very obvious bad content? To me, Blue Beetle is everything that's wrong with the comic book movie rolled into one big ball. And no, I don't need to watch the actual movie to tell me that. Because the trailer, the thing that's supposed to sell me on the prospect of going to watch this movie, did enough to show me exactly what I'm going to be getting when I sit in the theaters when this is released this summer. Alright, let's go. I've been waiting for this. Oh my god, he's just a regular guy scraping gum off the bottom of patio furniture. It's so relatable. Oh, he's got a quirky best friend. I know she's gonna steal the show. Yo, is that a scarab in a cheeseburger box? Let's go! Oh wow, it looks like he's being possessed. It's the marked ones all over again. The scene with his family freaking out is gonna be peak cinema. Ooh, that suit though. Oh my god, his eyes and his mouth move in the suit. Nerdgasm. Is he in space? Yup. He's in space. Confirmed. Wild. This dude cuts buses in half better than Doctor Strange. And he comments on exactly what he's doing better than Shazam. Oh my god, the choreography is like a fighting game animation. Whoa, unflattering Batman Easter egg? But an Easter egg nonetheless. I will be there opening night, even if no one else will.
Y'all be cool. Right on.